Well, hello there, my name is HW, and thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Guys, I've got a theory. You can't hear reverb. At least you can't really hear it when there's a bunch of other instruments in the mix. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it, and that's what today's video is about, so let's talk about it for a minute. Okay, so at the very beginning of Tone Junkie, one of the things I noticed was how different people's sounds were, especially when we were all covering the same songs. So for me, I was playing a lot on Sunday mornings, and I noticed that people would put up certain sounds, and I would put them into my Kemper, and they just didn't sound right when I would use them live. So I kept fiddling, and then I'd go home and I'd try to make more adjustments, and then I'd come back the next week and it wasn't any better. And for a while this really eluded me. But then I made a commitment to myself. I said, you know what, HW, here's what you gotta do. Dial in your sound on stage with the band playing while we're all playing a song, get it to sound great, and then don't touch it. So I committed to this. I saved 2 versions of all my Kemper performances, went to church, dialed it in, and I ended up turning up the mid-range, turning up the treble, and I ended up cutting some bass. I ended up boosting the reverb, boosting the delay to levels that sounded great. But as soon as I got home, I went, oh my gosh, this guitar sound is so bright, so mid-rangey. There's no low end in it, and it's super washed out. There's no way my rhythms could sound good at all. How could anyone hear me with this tone? And that was the breakthrough. All of a sudden I went, wait a minute. What I'm hearing in the mix doesn't equal what I'm hearing outside the mix. Think about this for a second. It makes perfect sense. We always talk about mix-ready tone or cutting in the mix, or is that thing gonna cut through the mix and stuff? And all that has to do with is this sort of idea that when a guitar is by itself, we can enjoy a really full low end and maybe a really bright high end presence. But when guitar is in a mix, you can think of it like a puzzle piece. There's a hole in a puzzle, and your guitar, no matter how much you cram it in that hole, it's never gonna fit unless you shape and sculpt your tone to be the size of that space. Where's the white space in the mix? That's what we're trying to find with our tone. So I wanna show you something that I've figured out. First, I'm gonna play for you 2 sounds. One is very reverb heavy, and it's a sound I use all the time. And next, I'm gonna take away all the reverb. I'm gonna play it in isolation so you can hear the sound. It's the exact same EQ, it's the exact same delays, and there's a lot of delay. All I'm gonna do is play the reverb on and off. Now, this is part of a free performance that you can download right now. It's a sneak peek at an upcoming amp, which is the T-Rec Max. It's a very cool amplifier, and this is actually a sound that I'm testing out in 2 weekends live. I've put it in my live Sunday performance. I profiled it. These are profiles with the King of Tone in front of it, but I wanted to see how this amp would do live. So here are 2 tones, one with full reverb and one with no reverb, in isolation, not in the mix. Okay, now the difference in those 2 tones is super obvious. To me, I mean, one just sounds washed out, and the other one sounds like bone dry. I mean, yeah, there's all those delays repeating and stuff, but the initial sort of just tone of the guitar and what you hear on the decay really, to me, is a difference of night and day. And you would think that being able to hear that difference would be very easy. But here I want to show you both of these sounds in a mix that I've used here on the channel before. This is like a worship style track that I'll put out as a Tone Junkie jam track. Sorry, I'm a little behind schedule on that. And I play the same parts with this same guitar. I mean, those tones you heard are what you're about to hear. I'm going to use some different pickups and stuff, but you're going to hear the difference of no reverb and reverb. And to be honest, the difference is audible, but it doesn't sound like one's washed out and the other one's dry. Have a listen. Okay, wow, that was really eye-opening for me. My brain doesn't immediately tell me that one of those sounds is very reverby. And it reminded me of this one time I worked with this producer and he told me reverb is really just 3D panning. There's left, there's right, and that's how we separate sounds. We give ourselves a stereo image, but reverb enables us to feel forward and back. Left, really verby, means left far away. Right, dry means right close up. And that's really how my brain perceives those guitars you just heard. What was really strange was I'm using the same amount of gain, but I kind of even perceived different amounts of gain. And I'm using the same EQ, but it made me perceive a little bit different EQ. When I had no EQ on, to me, it felt like the guitar was a little bit louder, which makes sense, right? We're talking about the guitar with no reverb feeling like it's a little closer, like it's a little more up front. And that was really nice when I was playing, some of the parts at the chorus where it really gets driving there. But where for me it wasn't as good was when I tried to play more single note stuff. I didn't have any reverb to sort of round it out. It almost felt like I was using less gain and a little bit of a brighter tone, like I didn't have this nice high-end roll-off. Maybe brighter or maybe a little less mid-range. But when I was using the reverb, it almost made me feel like I had more gain at times, especially when I was doing those octave chords and going up the neck. That's where, to me, the guitar with reverb didn't seem at all thin, where the drier one, the no reverb guitar, seemed a little bit plinky and pokey. Even though I had a lot of delay on and I didn't lower the gain, it sounded just like cleaner. And more along the lines of EQ, I really noticed that the Verby guitar, it almost seemed warmer. You know, the reverb I was using there has like a high-end roll-off, so the Verb, it's like a warm hall, so the Verb's not really leaving a ton of high-end reverberation in. It's kind of more a focused lo-fi reverb. And that sort of gave the guitar an overall more mid-rangey tone to me. I'll tell you one part that really stuck out to me was this part right here. Now, to me, it just seemed to lack force. It felt plinky. It felt too, like, clean, too, like, dry. But compare that, I played a little different riff here, but compare that to with the Verb. Listen to this. The Verb helped me feel a little more like part of the track. Now, in both of these, I have the guitars pretty high, pretty lifted. I mean, so we're really like, we should be able to hear more difference right now with the guitar so high and with no vocals than we would if you're actually behind a vocalist and if the guitars are actually mixed more with all the instrument, which I think goes even more to the point. Some of these really verbed out sounds. I mean, listen again to this. Listen how verby this guitar is dry. Super washed out. And now listen again, same exact sound in this mix. In the mix, you lose all of the feel of like the very subtlety of the Verb, and the only thing that's left is this carved out guitar sound, this mid-rangey frequencies that come through, and the Verb is then giving those frequencies sort of like a pushed back feel or a more in the mix feel. I even think that actually you can ride the high end higher on your tone and then verb it out, and you can get away with more reverb because you have all this cutting high end coming through, and it kind of takes that verb back a little bit. It doesn't seem so in your face, you know, like kind of a AC30 in a hall type thing, which is a little bit what we're going for here. Well, I hope that was eye-opening for some of you. Let me know if you want me to do more things like this. I've got some more thoughts about delay and verb and mid-range and stuff. And another one we could do like this is like tube screamers. You can listen to them outside the mix, you know, kind of as a solo tone, and they'll sound really like, you know, megaphony like this. But as soon as you put them in a mix, it's like, oh, that guitar is singing, man. Anyway, I've been HW. Moral of the story, I'm not sure you can turn reverb loud enough in some genres of music. I mean, it really, one man's washed out is another man's, hey, can we get a little more effect on that thing? What are you going to do? It's tone, man. It's totally subjective. I'm in HW. Thank you so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. Hey, if you get anything out of these videos, make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget, this is a 100% free performance. You can get this tone. Both of the tones I played are the number 4 rig in this free performance. You can get it right here, and links in the description. I've been HW. Thanks so much for watching Tone Junkie TV. HW. Oh!